As you can see, my name is Ahmad Agar, and today's title is Cashing in on Big Data. So I'll be talking on the big data at different aspects, and I'm like a usual speaker. And so by the time this presentation gets fixed and it comes on the projector, so I would like to start giving some kind of introduction, like we are living in a world where we see a lot of connected devices, and everybody have their smartphones. We have several kind of connected devices which is generating data. So computing and analyzing that particular data is a big challenge. Sorry for that. So as you can see, the title is Cashing in on Big Data. So when we talk about the data, we are seeing the business, there is a perspective, there is some expectations from the cloud, big data, mobility, social media, and so on. We have been listening. A lot of social media networks, they are providing that kind of extended facility and agility which can be extended to your mobile handle. So what the business they want agility, they want cost saving, of course they want like a time to market, where you will be having the flexibility to provision your application on time. Those kind of things business is always expecting, and that was the case where business they don't like the IT guys because the IT is always come up with a reason. So my session I am going to be a little bit on the thought process, and there is a quality, there is expectations, and how we can deliver the value. Because value delivering of the value, it makes a different sense for the different role. If, from the marketing side, of course, the value is about the customer, how effectively they are doing the campaigns, how effectively they are propagating their product lines, and how effectively they are doing the PR kind of thing. From the shareholder, it's all about the money. From the stakeholder, it's about the maximization of the value. So I will move to the other slide. As for the Gartner came up with this particular slide. As you can see, there are drivers. There are drivers for change, and the change is very strategic. And there is a business and IT transformation. In order for any organization to transform, to really realize the value from your business, how we can leverage the value from your data, from your platform, from your systems, from your different applications which are in place, those kind of things. We can see those are the drivers for change: big data, cloud, digitization. According to the Gartner, by year 2015, 25% of the organization will have a new role called CDO, Chief Digitization Officer. And there is a competition, because we are living in a world where the competition is happening, and there is a consumerization. It is all about the customer. It is all about the consumer. And those kind of things. This is the slide which I have taken from the Gartner. And in order for us to leverage the value, in order to cash in, we need a trustworthy computational environment. When we talk data as a service, when we are talking like a cashing in on the big data, why the big data has become a big buzz, why the cloud has become like a necessity. Before we were a couple of years before we were like in the phase of awareness, but now we are in the phase of realization. There are companies, there are organizations, there are people who are talking about how I can realize the value, how I can realize the profit, how I can save the cost. Those kind of things, questions are being raised. So we need to have a trustworthy computational model, a model which provides not only to process and compute the data which you have in exabytes and terabytes and so on. We have been listening when you talk about the data. Being an IT pro for more than 2 decades, we have been listening gigabyte, terabyte, and now we are listening petabyte, exabyte, zettabyte, yottabyte, and there is geobyte, and there is a runtobyte. Those kind of things we have been listening. Why? Because we are living in a world of super connected, where not only every individual carrying those smartphones, even your car become intelligent, your fridge become intelligent, your refrigerator. So those kind of embedded systems and those kind of systems which are there, which provides a kind of connectivity, which provides a kind of data, that data can be extracted in order to realize and analyze the value. This is what it matters. And then we have to, in order for the trustworthy, we need to have the compliances. This is not the complete. It's a typical trustworthy computational environment. So when you have a computational environment in place in your organization, not only you should have those kind of technologies which Samer and the previous speaker is talking about, but also you need to have a kind of governance in place. The policies has to be in place. A lot of things, and then you have to see what is the risk you are carrying forward. Because when initially, a couple of years before, when we talk about the cloud and big data, that we have seen a lot of cases of disruption. Disruption not only in terms of the service, but disruption in terms of breaches, data breaches, in terms of privacy, in terms of some kind of security. So security was a concern and it remains a concern. But what we can do, we need to bounce back with the governance, we need to bounce back with the resilience. We need to see how we can address that adversity. Those kind of things we need. And of course, availability. If your system is not available, we are not talking about anything. So we need to see what it means, how you can design and orchestrate a trustworthy computational environment. A computational environment not only in terms of providing and facilitating a governance, but also it is about securing your data, delivering the service at different places, wherever you have. And then you integrate. You are integrating all those services, you are integrating your data, so that the self-service provisioning, that is one of the agility which cloud and big data provides. And of course the confidentiality and the privacy which I just talked. This is a typical data as a service architecture. I have just taken this one. So you can see the gathering of the data. So the gathering of the data happens. I will show you because this is the basic thing which we have been, you can see it's 2010. At that time we have CSV, we have XML files, we have file servers, we have of course our enterprise data warehouse. And this is how for the BI enterprise data warehouse, these are the places where the data used to be captured in your enterprise data warehouse system to generate those business analytical reports. And then we used to have those RDMS and then some integration server. If you are a Microsoft client, you have Desktop, you have some other identity server applications or adapters or APIs you will use. Or if you are an SAP customer, you can use the NetWeaver BI and so on. So then you will publish the service wherever you are using as a data. Basically, this particular big data functional layer, you will not find it on the net. So I just try to break this big data layer into 4 layers. When we have been listening, the big data, some EMC talk about the big data from the infrastructure point of view, where you will have a new way of storing your data from the heterogeneous sources and different platforms. Again, we will be talking on the architecture. I just try to break down the architecture into different aspects. And then we are talking about the big data management. We are talking about the querying the big data, big queries. Even the Google and some other large organization, do they provide those kind of big queries you can run? Because that platform, it has an exabyte of processing power. Exaflop, sorry. Exaflop, by the way, how many of you know Exaflop? Of course, some of you may be knowing about it. Exaflop is a metric for measuring the processing power. You measure like this particular computer, it can process the data or it can analyze the data within this period of time or within this kind of frequency that is measured in the exaflop. And then we are talking about the big data analytics. We have been listening, machine learning and those kind of things. So again, I'm going to break down in my coming slides. And then big data applications, your application which has the agility, which can work irrespective of your environment, irrespective of the network. One of the things which Master Sampath was talking about, SDN, software defined network. Because we have been listening, the software and the hardware, they are like together, they are managed for good. They cannot be separated. But with these new enhancements and new innovation, those kind of things we are seeing today. This is the logical layer which we used to see. Whenever we used to talk about the enterprise data warehouse, we talk about ERP data, you have an Oracle data, you have SQL Server data, you have MySQL or whatever, and then you have CRM data, you have transactional data, you have some file systems, some Excel sheets. So many financial departments still they believe on Excel sheets because for those confidentiality and things, they believe on that. And then you have some kind of social media. And this is what it used to be considered as an enterprise warehouse data. And this is the data, and all other data is like a noisy data or nonsense data. Because we never considered that those feeds, transactional logs, location, climatic data, it is something related to the business? No. But today, yes. Because when you are going as a CMO, as a chief marketing officer, you are not only selling or promoting your services in a traditional way, but you are selling the services and promoting based on the context, based on the environment, based on his location. When you go to the airport, you see a lot of messages, you are welcome to this particular location and we have a special promotion for you. And they will give different layers or different categories of promotion. If you are going to be there for a month, this is the promotion. So you as a customer, you have a choice to decide where to go and when to go and how to go and what to pay. These things you have the flexibility and that's being practiced as a customer advocacy. You as a customer, what is good for you? This is what it matters for the business today. Not only for them to sustain, but also to penetrate, to show the customer advocacy, those kind of things. So now we are seeing that the technology is providing the business understanding. The technology, it understands the business language. You don't need to really understand how the technology is happening and what I need to do. You talk about the big data and the cloud. Actually, now we are living in a world of more complexity. There is more, it has more complexity. But when you see from as a customer, as an end user, things looks like easy, pretty easy. You just sign in, even you forget the password, you just reset the password to your authorized device or authorized email address and whatever. So you are still up and running, have access to different sites, bank accounts, social sites, some corporate related stuff, so a lot of things. Even if you forget, it doesn't matter. But actually in the back end, there is a lot of heterogeneity and complexity is there. So as an IT pro, it is more responsibility. But for the business, it doesn't matter. Whatever the IT is doing, it doesn't matter. The business has to go on.
have been listening about the business analytics. Some people they call as big data analytics, and some they call as the real-time analytics. I mean, what is this analytics you are talking about? Whatever you call, it depends on the context of your business. It depends, like we have been doing some BI, we call descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics, we are talking about the regression where we try to find out what are the variables, how those variables they relate. Those kind of analysis you are doing in your from the corporate data. The data, whenever I am saying data, it is not just about your enterprise data, but you are talking about different data, different sources, different systems, different platforms, different protocols, different architectures. Again, then you are visualizing, you are creating different data marts, you are creating different universes, you are creating different views, and you are utilizing some adapters, several things you have been doing. In 30 minutes I will not be able to cover, I am just trying to touch and bring a thought process. Data modeling, and then we do the data modeling. See, analytics involved in preparing the data for advanced analysis for generating day-to-day business intelligence. And this is what we have been doing. But believe me, a lot of even organizations, even as of today, how many board meetings happen where you are actually analyzing the data which is from your production server or servers or server forms? How many systems you are accessing and generating the data on real-time basis? This is still a challenge. And if somebody is even doing the descriptive analytics, believe me, he is up to date. Before you actually talk about predictive analytics, where you are talking about writing a predictive algorithms which is really helping your business to grow and to sustain. So we are talking about data mining, predictive modeling. Focus on prediction of models, probabilities, and it verifies. What is probabilities from the data which you have? What could be the case? How my business is operating at this time? How my particular product is functioning in a specific region and in these climatic conditions. So again, it depends. So the smartness, again, when we talk about the smartness, when we talk about the data, I have delivered one of the session actually on the cloud, and then there is one of the speaker, he came in and he talked about, it is all about the business. Another speaker, he came up and he said, it is all about the data. From their perspective, all they are right. When we talk about the business, yes, it's about the business process. When you talk about as a data, of course, it is all about the data. From the financial, it's about the revenue, it is how many views you are closing. That's what it means. And when we talk about the data, why we are talking about data, why we are talking about the big data? Because the data, there is something for me as an individual, there is something for me as a business. What is the value I have in that particular data? What the customer they are talking about from the social media or my particular product or about my particular service. This is we need to find out. We need to map. We need to identify. We need to map. We need to aggregate. I'll tell the second slide. And then we are talking about prescriptive analysis, which is more advanced. You are talking about focusing on decision making and efficiency. Again, there is a debate these days, and there are Gartner, Forrester, and McKinsey, and even ITC. They have been talking about. Does really efficiency matters, or do we need to really focus more on the agility rather than the efficiency and being effective? Those are the questions. And just I want you to think. Disruptive data governance. The data is disruptive. The system digitization. We are living in a world of disruption. We are talking about nexus of forces, which we have been listening for a couple of years. ITC they call as a third platform. And when we talk about the data, this is a typical governance cycle. We are collecting the data, which is we are actually capturing the data from heterogeneous platforms, from heterogeneous sources, from heterogeneous architecture and applications. And then we organize, clean, enrich, and aggregate. We visualize, we explore, and that means we are coordinating the data. And then we make the decision, which is like now your data is ready. Now you have a data which really could make sense, which can be used. I have seen a lot of BI projects on field. They have all the data, but when we really want to generate the data, there are a lot of, when we try to develop those data marts and all of that, there is a lot of data is missing. Even if the data is there is a lot of cleanup is required because all the data is like noisy data. So there is a capture, correlate, you are coordinating, and then you are corporatizing. Again, this is a little bit expanded form of the same thing. We are collecting the data, we are processing the data. Why we are processing the data? Because in order to deliver the value, in order to get the value, what is there for me? From the financial management, from the financial services side, from the retail side, what is there for me? Those things. So this is the cycle. I don't know how much I'm, Samir, can you help me with the time? Okay, here you go. So data architecture. We have been listening like it's an architect. What kind of architect? Is an application architect or technology architect where we talk about different topologies and different layers and OSI layers and all of that? Or we are talking about application layer? Or we are talking about business architecture, process architecture? And this is all data architectures. You have subject matter experts, you have entity experts, and there is domain specific knowledge is required. A database architect is required, an application architect, an integration architect, and so many architects, because I have done one initial project for the government, and they want to implement a single sign-on. And different government agencies, they have different applications, they have different protocols, there are different versions of the same application. And it's a big challenge. So streamlining and orchestrating in a way that you can have a single bus which can really deliver the value in a way which can make sense for the BI consultant, for the data mining consultant, and so on. So again, I will try to quickly move with a couple of slides. Data disruption. We have an offline data, we have an online data, we have an on-move data, we have Atlas, and then we use slice and dice. That's what we used to do. And this itself is like days and days of talk and days and months of implementation. And there is a transactional data. When we talk about the transactional data, we call CRUD data, which is create, read, update, and delete. This is what we used to do before. Now, we are talking about CRAP, which is create, replicate, append, and process. When we talk about the big data, this is what we are talking about. This is the previous old traditional model. Couple of years before, I met with the vice president of Gartner. Her name is Annie, and she said, when you want to visualize or when you are designing an application which you want to make sure that you have the retention and you have you make an investment which can be lasted at least for the coming 5 years. So for that, you need to identify what are those applications, what are those J2EE stuff, where their patterns which is not coexist. Because if you have an application which is following this, yes, you need to start planning how you can retire and how you can orchestrate in a way it complies with the vision and the orchestration. And these things I touched already. You see here data science and transformative roles. We are seeing a transformation. We are living in a world of transformation. Everything is being transformed. When we talk about, we have different languages, we have different maths and statistics. The one which I said to you, regression, that is playing with the statistical variable information, regressive analytics. And this is data mining, business intelligence. And you see, every role has different access to that information. And if I will start from log capture, it's a platform engineer. We used to listen, we need to capture that particular log, or a sensitive or a location data. That is the responsibility for the platform engineer. It's not the role for the DBA. But yes, of course, DBA can do it. But actually, main role for the DBA to administer the data, the data which is already stored or which is being streamed from the different systems. And then transform and prepare. Then there is the accessibility of the data and then modeling. If you see that data scientists, this is what also we have been listening. What these guys they do? They do the visualization and modeling. And then there are platform engineers, the one who will deploy. Again, I try to break down this one as a typical where you are extracting the data from the customer or the enterprise data warehouse, the one which I showed you, and you are extracting and absorbing the data from the demographic information. You are taking the sales and marketing data, and then you have some location data, because if you are trying to build a kind of analytical reporting, or where you want to see how this particular product is performing, like you talk about the FMCG sector as an example. Some like yogurt is not performing well because maybe this climatic condition. So those kind of intelligent attributes we need to really embed, and again that depends on your organizational strategy and the focus. You insert, you delete here and update. This is the data population, and you are loading the data, and you are trying to load that data into the customer table. Again, this is like a traditional way of business. This again I have taken from the Forestro, and this is the digital business. Why we are going and why we need to adopt? Because if you don't adopt, you will not be adopted by the business itself. You will be out of the business, irrespective of your market share, what you have today. And this I thought I would try to focus on and try to give you one kind of case study to see retail industry, how the big data, how the data can be realized by a retail industry, where you have different channels, digital channels. Those digital channels, they are not, those are the virtual stores. That is a revenue channel for you. And nowadays the customer, he wants more agility, he wants more flexibility, he wants to, before he come to your store, physical store, if somebody happen to have the habit of buying and going to the physical store, but they do all the study virtually. So you need to make sure that your product information, your services, your image and everything is intact. And you need to be ready by adopting the transformative technologies and platforms and whatever, And the good thing is that you are actually saving the cost. You are not increasing the expenses. And so I would like to thank you for being patient, and thanks a lot. If there is any question, I will take 5 minutes. However, I am available, and if any business or if anybody need a kind of consultancy or any kind of service, they really want to realize what it means for a business, and you have been talking about how we can really save, and this is what we have. I have seen actually there are so many government ministries in the region. They have started those initiatives, because when you talk about the big data analytics and big data and the cloud, the first project starts with the POC. So don't think that somebody really go full-fledged. Everything starts with the POC, where you have the proof of concept. We try to take the data from your enterprise data warehouse, and we try to take what are those, like social media platforms, maybe Twitter or Facebook, and we try to relate, and we try to come up with the kind of, simple and very realistic dashboards. Thanks a lot, and I think it's coffee break time. Again, we have one more session after the break. Thank you.